Well, hello. This message is for Sinead O'Connor. And Sinead O'Connor, I first and foremost want to send you some love. I also want to give you some ideas that perhaps might be able to help you in the whole situation of fighting mental illness. Um, do I suffer from mental illness? I don't know. I'll leave it up to the viewer to decide. Am I confident enough? If I did suffer from mental illness, would I be confident enough to be able to describe it and be as confident as Sinead O'Connor is? No, I am not. Henceforth, I'm leaving the question up to the viewer. But I want to send, and that's where we stand. That's where we stand as a society. Is that if you do suffer from mental illness, you don't have the comfort to be able to say it out loud and be able to stand up for people. Whereas Sinead O'Connor clearly does, and first and foremost, kudos to that. Sinead O'Connor has a history of breaking down the barriers and revealing a great deal of light and being pretty much the Joan of Arc for a society. I want to go back to her ripping up the picture of the Pope on Saturday Night Live, and so the whole situation with that, and how that literally broke loose, and victims started coming forward, and they started saying, "I know what she's talking about." And movies being made, and stories being, and the issues of nuns, and just the whole floodgate of awareness that came forward and allowed for a revolution and an understanding of humanity about a specific group. Now we flash forward into mental illness and her addressing of mental illness. First and foremost, Sinead, I want to tell you that you're talking about your children, and you're talking about your family, and you're talking about all these people that you gave so much to. I do want you to think about the concept of bread of shame. I don't know if you've heard of it. And bread of shame is basically where you give someone so much that they resent you for it. They're like, stop, and it appears in various different elements. And because the person is being shown like they can't. It's almost like a double, like, you can't do it, so I'm going to do it for you. And it's not a thing that we consciously do. It's because we care. We want to have the person be taken care of so they can flower and create a better reality from where we stand. But the way they're looking at it from an ego perspective that starts at the seed is, and that's how we all are to a certain degree. You just happen to be a beacon of amazing, amazing light. A few things that popped into my mind when you were talking about angels that came into your life. You were talking about the Peruvian angel. I'm from Peru, so hopefully that creates a bond in creation. I recommend seeking out spiritual tools that you can have at your disposal, various different things, experimentation with, the Quran, the Zohar, the Torah, the Bible, various different, whatever it is that Hindu script, whatever it is, and draw those positive energies into your life on a various forms, because it seems like you're also drawing various different elements from various different spiritual elements. So tie yourself down to that. In regards to feeling the need of your children and the whole situation with your children, I recommend you partner with Save the Children. Start off maybe really slow if you can afford it. I know that money is tough right now with the whole situation. I'm not sure, you are Sinead O'Connor. I'm confused. I'm like, how is money tough for Sinead O'Connor? But, I don't know how that situation worked out, but I say that you start off with, a monthly donation to Save the Children, reach out to them, like, write a song for them. I think Save the Children really needs a person to kind of step forward and be like, hey, what's up? And just maybe on their own, and allow other musical artists and other artists in general to step forward. And also I recommend contacting Mark Horvath with Invisible People, who deals with homelessness. And I'm sure that he deals with various people that suffer from mental illness. And you talk about, you being a star and you having the ability to get on an iPad and give this information and have people listen to what you have to say because you're Sinead O'Connor. But there's people like Joe Schmo or Susan Shashi, whatever, out there on the street, and they're not you. They don't have the voice, and so you are a voice. In regards to you committing suicide, if you commit suicide, who's going to be the voice? That's the question. Who's going to be the voice for the nation? Are you just going to leave it randomly to anybody? Or are you going to help every day culture a new voice, a new voice until your dying days that will make society better and constantly? Because I understand from the tattoos that you have that you understand, you've studied various religions and spirituality, so you know about the infiniteness of light and transcension and all that element. So I know that, and so you have to it's the desire to receive. We all have the desire to receive. We have go back to that element. It's like I want that from that person, and I'm not getting that from that person, so I don't feel whole. Well, in regards to say that, what you do is you transcend that energy, and you say to yourself, you know what? I gave them life. I gave them life, and I gave them so much prosperity. So I'm going to let that go and move forward in another aspect of my life, and trust the light, that the gifts that you have given your family, and trust the energy, and trust that it will be taken care of, and perhaps involve yourself in various different elements, but at the same time remove yourself so that you can be, I think that the universe is guiding you into the direction of you being a vessel for a great deal of transference of energy. And I think that the whole, mental illness, it's like a lot of some people, there may be some spiritual elements that perhaps, you might want to diverge into and seek out, and then do both. I recommend any kind of people. Some people are like, oh, I'm going to pray it away. I'm like, no, take your medication if you need to take your medication, and it's like, I'm going to take all your medication. I was like, oh, no, devil in your books, and partner those together and see what works for you as an individual in order to move forward, you know. So what do you think about the whole situation? Call Fiona Apple. Fiona Apple, I love you for making this message to Sinead O'Connor. And Fiona Apple, of course, and that understands, has that empathy and that understanding, because Fiona Apple as well is a voice that resonates that kind of frequency that allows us to be free and to be amazing human beings. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I want to send Sinead O'Connor. I'm trying to think anything else that I've missed out. Sinead O'Connor, Terry Gilly, Peace One Day, September 21st. Maybe that's something, you want to maybe start putting things in your calendar that are going to allow you to give focus. I forget the comedian, but he made an amazing video about the situation for you. And mental illness, we're all here for you. You say that no one's here for you. We're all here for you. And you say that no one's going to fight for you. It's like we have to fight for each other. That's pretty much how it is. We have to fight for each other. And in the sense of just not dying, I'm like, I can relate. I can relate that, that sometimes we have this meaningless purpose in the void and darkness where you just feel like, what's the point, and it just moves on from one onto the other. And I think that it's important to address. And as a community, it's important to bring ourselves together and to speak out and to say, hey, it's an issue. We got to deal with it one moment at a time. But I'm going to the gym to deal with my issue. Do you deal with your issues, and how do you deal with them? I want to wish you all a wonderful, wonderful year. And Sinead O'Connor, special love for you. Take care. Always and forever. Take care. I love you.